So depending on what region of the world you're in, time zones, you may or may not know that Sony Interactive Entertainment has acquired 14% of Elden Ring developer FromSoftware, courtesy of mpfirst.com. No time to waste. So a few months ago, I put out a video that Sony may have already acquired FromSoftware because there was a lot of heat around that rumor, and nobody was sure, and things went a bit quiet. But there was obviously no smoke without fire. So this is the result. So Sony's PlayStation division, Sony Interactive Entertainment, has now acquired 14% of Elden Ring Studio from Software Incorporated, which is a vast increase from its initial 1.93% stake it previously had. Less than 2% there. Now, aside from Sony, Tencent has also increased its share in FromSoftware to 16%. This was announced via a press release from FromSoftware parent company Kadokawa Corporation, where it mentions that Sony is to acquire 1,476 shares of common stock, which works out to roughly around $82, $83 a share. Now, the final shareholding ratio after this amounts to Kadokawa has 69.66%, and Six Joy Hong Kong Limited, Tencent, has 16.25%, and Sony Interactive Entertainment owns 14.9%. According to Kadokawa, they believe that the third-party allotment will continue to the medium to long-term improvement of the group's corporate value. Through the implementation of the fund procurement, FromSoftware will aim to proactively invest in development of more powerful game IP for itself to strengthen FromSoftware's development capabilities, and will seek to establish a framework that allows the expansion of the scope of its own publishing in the significantly growing global market. In addition to these purposes, for the increase of the number of users in the global market for game IP that FromSoftware creates and develops, FromSoftware decided to conduct the third-party allotment to Six Joy within the Tencent Group, which has strength in its capabilities to develop and deploy mobile games and other network technologies in the global market, including China, and Sony Interactive Entertainment within the Sony Group, which has strength in its capabilities to deploy IP in games, videos, and various other media in the global market concurrently and separately. So a lot of people are saying, well, you know, Sony should have bought the entire company, but obviously Tencent owns part of that, and Tencent aren't necessarily involved in those AAA game releases on console either. According to this, Tencent are pretty much along for the ride for the mobile sector and other network technologies in those global markets where that is obviously lucrative for them. But as mpfirst.com states, this is indeed huge news, and while this doesn't necessarily mean that FromSoftware games will be exclusive to Sony's platforms, don't be surprised to see a deeper collaboration between the two studios. And as for FromSoftware's latest game, Elden Ring, publisher Bandai Namco announced earlier this month that it has now surpassed over 16 million copies sold. Wow. So there you have it. Sony have increased its shares, its stake in FromSoftware, which can only be good for gamers, leading to more projects. Perhaps we'll get a Bloodborne sequel, maybe a Bloodborne remake. Who knows? Well, this is good news either way. On top of Sony acquiring another company that's involved in the mobile area of gaming, and that company's name is Savage Game Studios, which is obviously going to help Sony get revenue in other markets and areas of the game business that it hasn't traditionally been incredibly efficient at, let's say that. So it looks like Sony are really spreading its wings. It's jumping into the PC sector, it's investing in the mobile game sector, and obviously the console game, big giant game budgets and releases for Sony's very strong IP will continue. But it's doing what it can, obviously, to compete. Everybody's dipped in the mobile sector. I mean, if this Activision Blizzard deal goes through, Microsoft has King, and they're not called Kings for nothing. Microsoft obviously firmly into the game subscription. Sony's improved its own game subscription. I think it kind of had to. I know we know the traditional console model. Consoles typically sell less, loss leading, make up the games on, the ecosystem, retail. But that just isn't enough anymore, unfortunately. And I will add to this as well. When I discussed Sony putting its prices up, its console prices up, increasing the prices, I was purely speaking from a business point of view. That's why it may have appeared that I was agreeing with it and justifying it. But no, I was looking at it from a business point of view. What is the business bottom line? To make money. They're not a charity. It's not a profit. They're there purely to make money. Now, obviously, you don't do that by screwing over your entire console fan base by upping up the price when the other two big console platform holders, manufacturers, are not increasing their prices. And I'm talking about Xbox, who recently came out and said it's not increasing its prices for the time being at least, and neither is Nintendo. So now Sony are on their own, the worst optics ever, and it's indefensible. Okay, Jim Ryan has no doubt done some amazing things over the past couple of decades at PlayStation. But that was then, this is now, and some of the decision making that he's obviously it's not all Jim Ryan. The orders are coming from top, but he's the face, and we're not going to blame faceless people, are we? So I don't know if he should be offered a generous severance package. Someone comes in with some balls and fresh ideas and new blood required. There's another reason I think that they could have put the price up. They can't sell PlayStation VR 2 for less than $400. So, and it can't be seen to cost more than the actual PS5 console. So increasing the price of the base PS5 units sort of alleviates that concern. I got a feeling this is going to cost between $400 and $500. So Sony are kind of stuck there until they increase the prices. Now it doesn't look so bad, but they're taking heat in other areas. So whichever way Sony went, they would have taken some form of heat. Now, I think Sony would have received less criticism had it made only bundles available, downloadable games like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for, that's a $70 game, £70 game. They could have given that away, and I think the price increase would have felt a bit easier to swallow. Gamers would have been feeling a little less short-changed, particularly given there's no real indication that the increase is going to be temporary. So at the end of the day, I am still happy with my PS5 and its games, but I'm going to be keeping a keen eye on Sony Interactive Entertainment PlayStation this generation, because it has made blunders this gen, and its business practices may influence whether I am prepared to continue to support this company going into the next generation. Now, I do like PlayStation, so they're really going to have to screw up, aren't they? I mean, price increases, fine. That I can swallow for the time being. Actually paid for my launch day PS5. The price wasn't increased at that time, obviously, but anyone else getting one now are going to pay more than the console's actually worth from a MRSP, recommended retail price, whatever they call it. So I'm not sure though that ex-Sony bosses Jack Tretton or Andrew House, PlayStation bosses, would have increased the console's price. I think Jim Ryan is seemingly far more ruthless and less of a gamer than, say, Phil Spencer. And as a consumer, I have to concede, if it doesn't benefit the consumer, well, it's anti-consumer. So I'm calling a spade a spade. So what say you? Let's continue the discussion cordially in the comments. Go ahead, sound off, share your thoughts and opinion on today's news, as that brings us to the end of the video. But subscribe for more gaming news, rumor and speculation. Hit the like button and yes, the notification bell so we don't miss each other. And you can help Foxy Games UK reach more gamers, so feel free to share the video. You may also want to consider supporting Foxy Games UK via Patreon, because, well, we're like family now, so thank you. And you'll find a link in the video's description. But that concludes our time together on this Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you had a fantastic bank holiday weekend. Until next time, play games, not corporations.